And this was something I got talking about a little bit with Alex Speed, who we're going to hopefully have on the show next week, along with some of our other special guests back again and some more new faces to talk as we get ready for the Rock Vegas event coming up. And that is, whether or not we should be at the rate that we are going with the X30 Pro classes, both junior and senior. Should we be allowing when you have the numbers to turn away, which USPKS is feeling like they're capped out on entries. I don't think they want to have a ton more. As nice as it'd be for the more revenue, they're not set up with the events to take a lot and do LCQs. Do you allow your X30 Pros to go and run KA senior? Can Paulie and Connor, should they go and run KA on the regular? Because then, these guys, you're seeing the same guys win both classes in what's supposed to be a support class. Whether or not you agree or not, I think is a good question to pass up to the room, because Norberg doesn't go run X30. Brandon doesn't go run X30. Granted, it's because Brandon doesn't want to pay for it. But it's mainly also a good thing that we keep our pros in the pro classes specifically. And the KA class is meant to be a clubman class where the guy gets a taste of national racing, gets to jump up. And you've got like what Mike was saying, guys that shouldn't be an X30 running KA. But we've also got guys in KA that should be running X30 only. Chris?
Yeah, there's only like 5 guys, I think. There's only like 5 guys, I think, that fit that mold. And 2 of them are on your podcast. But yeah, I mean, there should be somewhat of a license system. I think Jamie Saraki, myself, and a few others, when USPKS was formed, and Mark and I go way back, and we all kind of talked about that, is trying to figure out how to implement it. It's never a perfect system. It's difficult. It's you feel like you're always starting from like ground zero if you were to do it. But yeah, I mean, Connor shouldn't be there. Paulie shouldn't be there at this point. I think, there are some things you could get to say like you shouldn't be in the category anymore. Brandon Lemke definitely should not be in the category anymore. But yeah, there's 4 or 5 guys in that category that shouldn't be there anymore. I mean, it's how we need to progress people from a club, regional, national, especially now that X30 almost doesn't exist other than the 2 national series we have in North America. We need that. We definitely do.
Tony, you were starting to talk a little bit there. I'll pass it over to you again.
I mean, I don't disagree in the fact. I like the fact that it's double track time for people that maybe are not doing enough races or whatever, but it is super difficult in the fact that, in my opinion, you should have a ringer, per se, or whatever the fuck you want to call them, but you should have that ringer in that class, or a guy that moves on in that class and then moves up to the next level. Because you can't call one a pro class and then the other one a support class when the same guy runs both. I do agree with that. I don't think that that's something that should always be done or practiced. Now, for the people that are putting on the races, I mean, you can't tell them otherwise. It's double entry, double tires, race teams, double pit spaces, double sets of tire. I mean, just it's a hard question to answer. But honestly, yeah, no. I mean, it's hard. It would be hard to take a guy from a club level and then bring him to a national level and expect that he's going to learn very much of anything, or want to do the next one because he's competing with the same guy that's running in the front of the pro classes. So, I mean, it's a two-edged sword, man. It just depends on which way you want to go about it, really, honestly.
And Doty, what would you say to kind of go a little deeper? Could we get specific on it, right? Right now, let's say you take the numbers out of the option. They've got at least 10 guys they could probably cut out of K and be fine. Because it sounds like from where we were talking last night, if they're afraid of LCQs, we had 50 in KA. They really want to start about 40. So if you take off 10, right, is there a cutoff? Let's say would you let maybe like a first-year senior run it for a year like Connor? And then Connor after this year be like, all right, Connor, you're not allowed to run KA anymore. You dominated. And then the other guys like Lemke and them? Or would you go deeper, or how would you structure? Because you just you got to pick one and go run it only.
It's kind of difficult. I mean, if they just moved out of the junior class, you'd maybe let them run that class for a year. If they win the points, you're not allowed to back. They're not allowed to back in it. If you win consecutive races, but the problem is it's karting, right? So if you tell somebody they can't race it, let's say you take a tag guy, and he goes down the KA, and somebody that was pretty good in tag, and you tell them, oh, you can't run KA, they might not even be in karting anymore. Karting's supposed to be fun, and I totally get it. Like, yeah, Connor probably shouldn't be in that class. Paulie shouldn't be in that class. But we ran Paulie in that class the first year. We didn't run him in senior when he was with us. We said, hey, let's just run KA this year, get your feet wet a little bit, and then we'll move you to senior. We did it in that way. We didn't, not for any other reason. We were hoping that he was going to do good and win. And Lemke's been around for a while. I mean, you guys keep saying his name. I mean, he doesn't dominate in that class. He's fast, but he doesn't dominate. So it's really hard to say because it's karting, but there should be some kind of licensing system. Honestly, I feel there's some guys in tag that shouldn't be in tag just because of their skill level. They're more than anything. So it's like the opposite.
Yeah.
Like those guys can go down and be professionals in the KA, but there's some guys that shouldn't be in the tag class just on sheer safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good point too. Because when you started 48 tag guys, I think there was one day we had probably at least 15. I think Saturday we had a lot of DNFs in X30 Pro. We had a lot of wrecks, and they were almost all outside the top 15. I think there was the only spin in the top 15 I saw was when Will Power got spun, and it was a light racing deal. They were just kind of bottled up on the first lap. The rest of the major wrecks were pretty deep in the field with guys that were out of control for sure.